6A, on about the third to the last line, the statement is, the auditors had it removed. I think better wording might be under suggestion from the auditors, the school district moved or something like that, because the auditors can't do it. Just for clarification. The auditors didn't move the money, we did it.
The auditors recommended?
Yeah, as per auditor's recommendation or something. I think that might be clearer.
I believe they removed it from the report.
We moved funds that night from a school district fund to
So
an
it can't be
investment
on the
fund.
books, right? So they removed it, right? So they removed it from the books? Is
But
that
the
what-
auditors didn't do it, we did it.
Okay.
Under the auditor's suggestion, then we did it.
So how do you want it worded?
Just under, should not be on the school books.
So the auditors were-
Per auditor's recommendation?
So the auditors recommended removing it from the books?
Yeah, you could just
Or
change,
removing it?
you could just change after the comma, per auditor's recommendation,
Right.
like what Tom said.
Okay. Anybody satisfied with that? Then I'll accept a motion to approve them.
I will move to approve the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
Sure.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes, regular board meeting, December 14th, 2015. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Next item of business is the approval of general fund vouchers, 729.80 through 730.48. Voided check number 730.46. Wire transfers 15160,197 through 1516.
Hold on, Greg. 0230. 15160230. They just forgot the last four numbers.
Oh, okay, yep, 60156, 1516. Okay, and activity fund vouchers 2285 through 2303.
I'll move.
1516 what?
0230.
230.
Okay,
I'll move.
we got a motion?
I'll second.
Been properly moved and seconded that we approve the general fund vouchers as listed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Right?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And we'll move on to the public comment question. Did everybody get a chance to sign in so we have record of you guys being here? If not, on your way out, if you could sign in. And does anybody have any public comment that they'd want to make at this time? Okay. So then we'll move on to our old business. Consideration and approval of summer school dates. Go ahead, Josh, you can lay it up on that subject.
Go ahead, Chris.
All right, I'll take that one. So we do this every year, just approval of having a summer school program and setting the dates. We worked on this back in December, November actually, and so what I'd like to propose is school gets out on Thursday, June 2nd, so we would start summer school. The in-service date for teachers and staff would be Friday, June 10th. And then students would come in on Monday, June 13th for the first day of summer school, and then it would run for 14 days and finish June 30th on Thursday. And that would be the end of summer school. So we want to keep it on in the month of June for the fiscal purpose, or for the books, fiscal year purposes. So again, in-service June 10th, students start on June 13th and are done on June 30th. So I would ask if you would approve those dates, please.
Typically what we've done, Chris?
Yeah, it's 14 days. There's been some years, we had 15 days last year, the way the calendar fell, but we've done it 14 days a lot of other years too. That was something I talked with Mr. Air about as far as financially, if it mattered. You know, if you start cutting it down to too many days, you can start to lose money as far as your counts, but 14 days, he's said that, so we've done that many times before, so.
Any other
My recommendations for those dates.
any discussion, guys? Okay. well
Make a
then we'll-
motion that we approve it.
Got a motion? Do I hear a second? Thank
I'll
you,
second.
Janet. Been properly moved and seconded that we approve the summer school dates as Chris listed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Then we'll move on to new business, verification of school board election declarations and ballot placement. You want that one, Josh?
I'm gonna give you this folder. Be the two.
Okay. So it looks like we have two people running then. Tom's gonna run and Nanette Grote are both running. So now we have to place these on the ballot, I think, and don't we usually draw out of a hat to
Draw
do
the
that?
hat or flip a coin if there's two. Those really scientific methods.
Well, then,
Got a coin.
I don't have a
Content with
coin.
that.
I'm a farmer.
I do have a coin.
Tom, you call it. If you get it right, you're top, and if you get it wrong, then you're second.
Fair enough.
Heads? Tails?
Heads.
It is heads.
All right, Tom will be listed
It is
first.
heads.
I believe you. Can I borrow your pen a second, Josh?
It's overtime.
Should have done it. That'll work. And then, Josh, if you could just remember, well, it's in the minutes, I guess, but Tom will be listed first, and then...
I got it.
Okay. And then you'll need to sign that, Dave. All right. Now we'll move on to new business B, consideration of resignation.
I have a resignation.
Therese Klein.
Do you guys have the letter in your packet, or
No.
No? Okay.
I can, I
Yep.
brought my own copy, so I can
Yes, Chris, thank you.
read it. So
Sure.
This is from Teresa Klein. Dear Mr. Peterson, school board members, I'm ready to inform you of my decision to give my resignation as Secretary of Medical Aid Transportation Coordinator, effective at the end of the 2015-16 school year. It's been a great pleasure to be able to work for the Clear Lake School District, and I have enjoyed my time here, but we have recently sold our home and will be relocating to the Menominee area, and the distance is too far to drive each day. It is not very easy for me to leave this position. I am so grateful to have been given this job, to have such wonderful coworkers, and I truly treasure the experiences and friendships I have made. I look forward to being able to help make this a smooth transition of responsibilities. Warm regards, Teresa Klein. So she spoke to me about this a while back, and she said, again, she wants to work through the rest of the school year, and she said she would also help out during the summer. If you guys recall, last spring, we made her the transportation coordinator assistant, so she does the bus routes now. So she does that for summer school bus routes, and then also again in July and August for the school year, which is a big job and a big learning curve. So she did it herself for the first time last year, but she said she would come back and help whoever the new person was to try to get through the summertime process as well. So.
Awesome.
Well, then we thank Teresa for her devotion over the years, and I look for a motion.
I'll move to accept the resignation of Teresa Klein.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the resignation of Teresa Klein. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Now move on to the consideration of the backpack program collaboration with Polk County Salvation Army.
Turn that one over to Chris as well,
Okay,
along with
I got
Jessica.
one more here. So, I have also some other people here tonight that are here to help explain about this, but Jessica Millar, our elementary school guidance counselor, and then Cheryl Paulson, community member and a parent, who's also here. So they're gonna chime in and talk about many of the things that we're gonna do here, but I'll just kind of give you guys a little bit of a background, and I'll hand out a page of notes here.
Thanks, Chris.
And that's in your packet as well.
Some of you might be familiar with the concept of a weekend food backpack program. May have heard about it or read about it in other communities. I know that there was an article in the Emory newspaper about theirs in the last couple months here. But anyway, So it's a program where needy students and their families are, it's the students are supported with it's a community-based program, so it's not a school program, but it's a community program where students are provided a backpack filled with canned goods and foods and things like that they can take home on the weekend. As you guys know, we have many students who get free and reduced lunch and breakfast, and school's a big source of their nutrition. And so this is like I said, it's become a pretty popular thing in the last 5 or 10 years around a lot of communities across the country. And so it's a program where backpack is sent home on a Friday with a student, and it's meant to be food to kind of supplement their nutrition at home. And it's the program here would be run by Salvation, or would be not run by, but be supported by the Salvation Army. So just to give you a little bit of background on this, Salvation Army had contacted me back in August or September of 2014, and wanted to come in and have a meeting, and we had tried to set up a meeting with them to just kind of get some background information, and that was while we were in the midst of finishing the elementary building project and trying to move in, and we had things that weren't on time and school delayed, and it was pretty intense. So things just didn't really fall together. It just wasn't a real good time for us to be thinking about that. So then we kind of said we would kind of table it and maybe think about it another time. Then last school year, we were approached, not me personally, but I think Mrs. Millar, I think Mr. Ayer, got approached by a couple of different people independently, but Cheryl was one of them. Nettie Grote was one who had read about and heard about programs in other communities and said, hey, what about a backpack program in Clear Lake? Is there anything to that effect? And that's what Salvation Army had approached me about as well. And we learned, we're one of the few schools probably in Polk County that doesn't have a backpack program. Also then this late summer and fall, Mrs. Millar had talked to me as well about an interest in kind of being involved in something like that if we ever had one. So she contacted Salvation Army this fall, did some groundwork, asked some questions, kind of got, how do you get started? Put together a letter that went out to all district students, a little survey to see, is there even a need? Is there even an interest? If we had a program, would people even partake? And so we got, I think, 15 or 17 families that responded by saying, yep, they definitely would be interested. So with that, then we, Mrs. Millar set up another meeting, coordinated it with Salvation Army, myself and her, and then invited Cheryl and Nettie to come in, because again, they had expressed interest in mobilizing some community groups to support this, or to run this. So that's kind of how it all got going and where we got to this point. And then Jessica, do you want to kind of take it somewhat from there?
So in order for the program to be successful, we really need the community's help, which is where Cheryl and Nettie come in. Do you want me to share? Okay. I don't want to step on your toes. Okay, so Cheryl contacted our Clear Lake Community Center, and they have agreed to give us a room to store the food from the Salvation Army, along with a space to pack the backpacks. Cheryl has been working with the Lions Club, and then Nettie Grote has been working with the Clear Lake Area Ministerial Association, SAMA. And between the two, we're in a really fortunate place where we have some financial support for the program, along with a lot of potential volunteers to help pack the backpacks on a weekly basis. So the Salvation Army they are willing to fund the program to get it started, and then as time goes on, we as a community kind of take that over. So that's where the Lions Club and possibly Playama might come into play. Okay, so then what have I missed here? So during the week, on a weekly basis, volunteers will pack the backpacks at the community center. And then on a Thursday, either I'll go pick up the backpacks or they'll be brought to school. And on Friday is when I will pass out the backpacks to the families that have signed up for the program. To qualify for the program, you have to be on free and reduced lunch, I think.
Yep.
I think Chris mentioned that. It is a program that only runs during the school year, so it won't be something that would be a part of summer school. I think it technically, it will start in October, so it doesn't even start
Yeah.
September to June, but, and then, yeah, so what it comes down to is it doesn't take any space at our school other than a small box that I pick the backpacks up in and distribute them. Once the backpacks are distributed on Friday and taken home, the goal is that they will come back on Monday to school to be packed again for the new week. And then,
Doesn't cost us anything.
Yeah.
You know, the school doesn't have any financial commitment. It's a community program.
Yeah, regardless, the Salvation Army funds the program. We would not have to, as a community, even give any financial assistance. So that's why all the cities around in Polk County, like Clayton and Amory, and they've been doing it already for a couple of years. So it's just a program that, like Chris said, supplements. It's only for kids preschool to 6th grade right now. That's the program. That already qualify for free or reduced lunches. So the confidentiality piece is where Jessica comes in. We want to be able to have, you know, like an elementary counselor, you know, need to know basis. Nobody knows but her who is benefiting, and the backpacks have like numbers on them and they're sent home. So no other kids even, you know, kids don't really take note of backpacks. But it's been very successful in surrounding communities. And it's something, even if the Lions, that's where I come in, I'm a Lions member here. We wanted to jumpstart the program, so we voted to donate $2,000 to get it jump-started. And the communities can actually, the churches, if they want to collect some of the canned goods, it actually defers the cost of the program. And then we might be able to even send home milk coupons once a month for those families. But it's no cost to the school district. It's just, we needed your approval because of the confidentiality piece and to support that we can offer it to those families that have expressed a need for it.
And it's, yeah, again, it doesn't cost the school anything, it doesn't cost us any space. The only commitment is that, you know, the elementary counselor would take a few minutes each week to, you know, there's a number with a backpack and there's a number that goes with the name, and she just makes sure that the student gets the backpack and hangs it on their hook before the end of the day Friday. And then the other thing is that it would require probably, you know, Joy, who handles our food service program in the district office, at the beginning of the year to send out a letter to families who may be on free and reduced, just inviting them to, you know, make them aware that we have the program and to see if they want to take part. So that's really the only thing that the school does. We are basically, it's a community program run by Salvation. It's just, we are just the connection to the kids. We provide the conduit or the access to reach the families is what we do.
So this,
Another program we can say that our elementary school offers, you know, to families that have that need.
And you know, they stress too that Salvation Army will do, you know, the seed money to get it going, and what they say they find in most communities is that once the program gets established, then people, community groups tend to just, you know, the fundraising tends to come along because people realize, oh, we have this program, yeah, let's keep that going, and people tend to make pretty good commitments to it, and it just kind of grows. And just the very few people that we've, you know, shared with, whether, you know, Nettie spoke to the Ministerial Association, and just, you know, lots of enthusiasm among, you know, all the different churches. An idea, for example, is, you know, different churches say, hey, they each take a month of the year or something to do the packing, you know, they just need a couple of people to show up in the room and do the packing each week, you know, so they could have a rotation there. Or each month, a certain church commits to providing X number of cans of canned fruit, you know, and then it defrays the cost even more from the Salvation Army. So, and there's definitely seems to be, you know, some community commitment there from the Lions for the labor, and from Klamath for the labor, and seems to be a good resource. We also did seek the input of the local food pantry, because we have a very strong food shelf in Clear Lake, and so we wanted to make sure they knew about it and were involved as well, and wanted to see if they wanted to be part of it anyway. And they said, no, we'll run it, you know, keep that as a separate thing. Really, what they do is for, you know, adults. What we're doing is for kids, and, you know, keep it separated is what they felt comfortable with. So that was great. Either way. So, what other questions that you all have?
Sounds like the right thing to do.
Sounds like a good one. So you guys need our approval then. I'll look for a motion stating that.
Absolutely. I'll move.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to help with the backpack program in collaboration with the Salvation Army. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, you guys, for reaching out and doing that.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item of business, D, discussion of the student dress code. Tom, I think I'll let you lead us on that one.
Everybody that one? There we go. Yep, I just wanted, I think the simplest way would be, let's take out that last sentence under thing of contentions, caps, hats, headbands, headgear, or sunglasses are not allowed to be worn in the school building unless special permission is granted on a special activity day. This also includes indoor extracurricular activities. Been a little bit of a source of contention among students, amongst the people in the community. So I think I would propose we just take out that last sentence so that the kids can come into our gym and have a hat on like everybody else does.
So this has been kind of a problem with new schools coming in and sitting on the other side of the gym. They're all wearing their hats or no?
Yeah, we don't have any signs up that says no hats are allowed on this side of the gym. And we've had parents that were threatened with a disorderly conduct ticket if they've got a hat on sitting on the wrong side of the gym.
When was that?
Pardon me?
When was that?
A while ago, but when we were discussing it out
It's
amongst.
been more than 10 years, because that hasn't happened since I've been here.
Yeah, well,
I think it was maybe when Mr. Whitmore was here.
could have been, but it happened. You know, and the rule's still in place.
Yeah.
So,
And
we've
I know
got,
that the rule changed when 10 years ago, that it only applies to our students. It doesn't apply to people, it doesn't apply to adults or kids from other schools. It just applies to
well,
our students.
recently there was another adult that was told that he's gotta take his hat off because he's sitting on the wrong side of the gym.
Okay. No.
And that was recently, because I was approached by that, and I said, what's going on down there? And I said, well, something that we should address. And right now, we've got, certain kids are getting picked out, you know, that they've got a hat on. They said, well, I'm surrounded by kids with hats. Well, you're gonna take yours off. So it's an item of contention. And besides, we want the kids to show up. We want them to come to the games. You know, and I don't think we should have any limitations. Want them to come, cheer, have fun. It's kind of what we do here. So,
What was the reason it was put in there?
I suppose probably respect to the establishment. Probably back in the old days, people took their hats off when they went in buildings all the time.
I think it's been a rule for,
ever.
since I went to school here.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there was a discussion held when I became the high school principal here, asking about it. Brought up to the school board, and they discussed it at the time. Because I brought it forward and said, you know, where does it sit? And you know, the school board at the time said, yeah, let's keep it just as a matter of, you know, respect or tradition of the old days. You know, you take your hat off when you come inside, or so that's some of the history that I know about it. I know it was brought up
And,
then.
you know, I don't know,
It hasn't
like-
really been discussed since then. That was 2006. So.
I'm not sure what past practice has been with the Clear Lake District, but what we could do as far as, you know, what I'm kind of accustomed to is we create a committee, discuss it, probably a junior, senior high school committee within house, get some feedback from kind of the stakeholders in house, and then typically with a handbook policy or board policy, then we propose it to the board, and then the board would vote on it.
Yeah, I
If
think
you guys would like.
that's a good way of dealing with it.
That would include the kids too, I take it. They get a say in this?
That's what he's talking about doing.
Yeah, we
right?
could-
Well, kids and teachers and
We could
everyone else.
add that as a part of the component to that process as well, yeah.
And your concern is mainly just extracurricular activities. It's not,
Yep,
you're
just-
not asking to stop it during
No,
the school event?
No, just that last sentence that includes extracurricular activities.
Okay.
That's
You're not
my-
concerned about consistency if it's our school policy that we don't wear hats? we just don't wear hats, except for, because if we don't, it's, we may, one of the things we may run into is we're sending a mixed message, if you don't wear hats during the school day, da-da-da-da-da, and all of a sudden, okay, but it's okay to do it during a basketball game.
Well, it's
Or
pretty cut and
wrestling,
dried if
yeah.
it's after the school, after school hours.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate with you, so.
Certainly, I get that. The other thing is, if we want to continue with that, then we should probably have some signage, if we're going to continue down that, it's respect, it's tradition, it's this and that, so that anybody coming into our house shows the same respect and tradition. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
So that would be in line with consistency.
Sure. Now,
But-
if we decide to leave it.
But just
we-
holding our kids
that's what we
to
put.
to a different standard than anybody else's, that doesn't seem fair to me. Follow what I'm saying?
I get you. I get you.
So how would we like to proceed? We want to make a
Well,
motion, or
I
Josh?
think we asked Josh to
put together a,
Does Mr. Gillis know about it, or is it?
Think- and
know
Mr.
about it?
other than, this is the first I heard of
You
it when I
probably
was on
want
this
to be, you
discussion.
probably want to
so-
have some input on that too.
Yeah.
I got a question too, if it would impact elementary stuff or non-athletic things too, we want to think about that too. But does it impact, okay, they come to a PTO thing or they come to a music concert, does it apply there or not? You'd want to clarify that probably too.
I'd limit the hat policy to school day. Just, the dress code to school day, basically.
Okay.
okay, Josh, could you, and if that's how you guys want to proceed, we'll see if Josh can put together a,
Ask Mr.
Committee
Gillis to
and-
get some input for us.
Yeah, we could bring in all the
Bring it
stakeholders
back.
and allow the students to have a voice in that process as well.
Sure.
okay, that sounds good.
Good with that.
All right, then we'll move on to discussion of policy 528. If we can find it right over here.
My book's put together straight.
Okay, 528 is our administrator retirement policy, and we've kicked that can down the road here a little bit. I think we'd probably better figure out what we want to do with it. So everybody's familiar with what we've got right now. I can read it if you'd like me to. So I guess how do we want to proceed with the administrative retirement policy?
Would I be able to, just being new and I don't know, kind of what, I mean, I know a little bit of the past and what has happened and a little bit of what you guys have communicated regarding this policy. But I guess I just requested it be tabled until I can kind of get my feet on the ground a week and a day in and just to see what other surrounding schools are doing. Just to kind of get more versed. I know, I'm assuming that's already happened, but to be real honest, that first week was just scrambling, trying to get passwords and things set up, and Lori and Joy have been phenomenal, but a lot of it is trying to communicate with Dawn as far as the 425 and 426 policy as well. So if you could just give me a little bit of time on that, I'd greatly appreciate it. So just a request that it gets tabled.
So we don't talk about it right now?
Well, you can certainly talk about it, but
Yeah.
before any decisions
I
are
think it was
made.
just up for discussion, I think, is what we have.
Sure.
And I think Josh is probably going down the same mindset that I had, is let's see what's out there and get something in place, and then we can get something more current.
I printed off a sheet of paper for
I'm gonna
you.
pass it down.
Oh,
Yeah.
you want to pass that down to
Are we going to
Josh? I'll
discuss
share
it
with you.
tonight, or just want to table it till the next meeting? Either way works for me.
Well,
Josh,
Tom's
that's
done some
fine.
homework. I don't know. I'm fine with tabling it, bringing it back. We got a lot of stuff to do
Yeah,
tonight.
that's fine. We
Okay.
can cover it next time, because that'll give Josh a chance to look at
Appreciate
some
it.
stuff. Sure, that's
Yeah.
fine.
I was just gonna maybe insert something, especially, maybe we as a board were remiss a little bit. Do you think we ought to introduce Josh to our public here?
Oh,
and have him
gosh.
stand up and introduce himself? I'm sitting here going, oh, hang on a minute.
I hadn't even gotten to that point yet. Well, you
Part
guys,
of Brad is Josh.
It's not on our agenda, but maybe we ought to let you
yeah,
know who
I
the strange
apologize.
gentleman is here.
This is Josh Ertz, and a lot of you guys have met him already from the groupings that we did prior to this. Josh, do you want to say a few words to the?
Yeah, and I can at the end as well with the superintendent's report, but I've been 6 days in, it's a great place to be. I've already learned that very quickly. Everybody's been extremely welcoming. I've been invited to live with multiple families and homes, and invited to dinners, and so it's been a very good feel immediately. But definitely a whirlwind, coming in mid-year and trying to figure things out right away. And like I said, Joy and Lori have been absolutely phenomenal helping me get my bearings, and up from Wausau and now here, and now we're just trying to get my family to come on down. So accepted offer on our house Saturday, so we're very excited. So one step closer.
Well, welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you,
Sorry about that.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Brent. So then I suppose we should probably have a motion to table that
Well, it's just under
discussion.
discussion, so I don't even.
Okay, that's probably
Yeah.
true.
We're not moving on anything, so, yeah.
Mhm.
All right, then we'll move on to discussion of staff grievance procedures and policy. You can keep that, John.
Okay, thanks.
So Josh, you printed us out staff grievance procedure and policy. Is that from our book, or is that from some other?
That's from the teacher handbook.
It's from our teacher handbook.
Yep, Clear Lake.
Okay. So that being said then, Tom, you want to go ahead and, you didn't want, I thought you wanted this on.
No, I'm reading this too for the, is this the old conversation we had about establishing a grievance policy? Oh, okay, that was for the community.
That was for public.
That was for the public. That wasn't
Oh.
for our staff.
Okay.
Yeah, because we don't have see, other schools have an 870, where they have a public, handling public complaints and things like that. This 871, that's our own one. I didn't
Okay.
know there was I didn't know there was anything wrong with our own.
Well, that's why, so then let's put on the agenda then for next time to talk about 871, you said it is?
No, ours is
870.
870.
Other schools have 870 about public complaints.
Yeah, we didn't,
Public grievance policy?
that gentleman that came from the WSC said we didn't have a complaint policy for the
Right.
general public.
Right.
A grievance policy, and so we need to implement that. It had nothing to do with our employees.
I can reach out to Mr. Brown to see if he has a sample policy like that that we could adopt to, tailor to fit our needs here in Clear Lake.
Okay. Well, that sounds
I
terrific.
don't know if I've got a copy of this one. Here's I'll hand that down to Josh.
Is that who you said?
There's
Al Brown?
Josh, there's a sample
Oh, okay.
of one that we've,
Wasn't that back to Bob Butler when we talked about
Yep.
that?
Yep, yeah, because he went through our manual and said there are a number of things that needed to be addressed, and that was the main one that he said. And that's one
Okay.
I found,
What
I
did you
think,
say?
online.
Bob Butler.
Bob Butler, okay.
Josh, can I just take that?
Okay.
Yep, that's the one.
Then we'll move on to discussion of board policies. Item G. We had talked a little bit about going through and updating our policy manual, so I wanted to have the conversation or frame it up to how do we want to accomplish this. So I'll leave it to you guys to go ahead and start the conversation.
how do you want to do it? Do we want to split it up 5 ways and everybody take a section and kind of, I've read it all, but do it, is to read them in,
Can I suggest, I would suggest typically, I think what would happen with reviewing board policies, you'd get the kind of the main stakeholders involved within the district, so we could develop or kind of ask if there's any interest within the 2 buildings to develop a committee. Then we could review, I respectfully request that we don't tackle the entire thing in the next couple months here.
Oh, come on.
But we could break it down into, whatever we want, whatever we think is appropriate. And then we could reach out to, WASB, look at some kind of generic policies. Usually they have 2 or 3 policies, like, for example, like if it's student discipline, they could give us like 2 or 3 policies on student discipline. Then within the community, or within that committee, we tailor it to fit the needs of Clear Lake, and as we review our current policy, and then we'd bring those up to the school board, and then you guys would review those ultimately and approve or deny, or request any additional changes.
So when we talk policies, there's a number of different policies. We've got the elementary policy, we've got the high school policy, we've got our Board of Education policy. How many more policy books do we have? Is that all of them?
No.
Athletic code?
Teacher handbook, parent handbook, support staff handbook.
Student handbooks, student handbooks for each building.
And I know, Chris, you've worked hard on these over the years because you've been constantly trying to update these as we go.
I did a lot of this with the student handbooks over the years.
Yeah, the principals as history, the principals have been running the student handbook, the kind of parent-teacher handbook. I think, what we kind of talked about and what my understanding was, it was the board,
Our
the
board.
board policy handbook, and that's big enough alone if we kind of take that off and chew on that one.
And it was suggested, excuse me, at the last retreat that, as you were talking about, you could contract to do some of that too, and have them do the initial walk through WSB, or and then just what you were referring to with doing that, and then we can do the specifics, the details to fit Clear Lake, and that's another option also.
NOAA or Naomi or whatever
Yeah.
they call that acronym. Neola. And I don't know what that costs to do it that way, but that'd be one way of tackling it.
Well, I think it would be prudent if we as a board kind of at least did the first blush on our own. Just, okay, this is our concerns, and kind of look at the stuff that hasn't been updated since 1982, kind of thing. However we choose to prioritize it. But then, and then run it through a committee like Josh was talking about, so we get input not just from us, we get input from our stakeholders, and then, and just kind of set up, and I guess we're kind of trying to set up as kind of a structured thing where we're constantly reviewing parts of our policy so that we're trying to keep everything up to date. And it's not just where we have to come in and do it all at once.
Well,
Right?
along them lines, what I was kind of thinking that I'd throw out is, our tenure as board members is 3 years. So if we wanted to maybe work on a third of it a year, so as we go through our tenure, we'll have gotten through the whole handbook, policy book. I'm just throwing that out there.
I do know it'll be quite an animal to do.
Yeah.
Like a suggestion that just a suggestion we could do, maybe one of the series to start out with, or a half of like the 400 series, which is pertains to students, and then you could kind of go through each. Having just left WASA, we're in the process of doing student discipline, and it definitely works better when you have multiple people at the table rather than just one person doing it. Obviously it's a little bit larger district, but it made things a lot easier when you had multiple people bouncing ideas off of one another.
Oh, absolutely.
Just an idea, suggestion. Unless you just want me to do it this weekend, I can try to get after it this weekend.
It's going to be cold anyway.
All right.
So then, gleaning from the conversation we had, we want to work on this one then.
Well, what segment though, Greg? Do we want to review just our school board policies of that? Because I agree with Josh. I mean, the people that are in the trenches should weigh in on some of the student issues and
Oh,
perhaps even some of
definitely.
the staff issues and things of that nature.
And I guess to take, we want to review the Board of Education. That's kind of what we've kind of agreed on. Maybe what we can do next time is, that's our homework, is to go back, okay, and then figure out what sections we want to tackle first, and then give Josh some direction as to, okay, just do the first third next week.
And what might be beneficial is maybe if the board is looking to be part of this, maybe the board works on Series 100,
Yeah.
which is specific, pertains to Board of
us.
Education, which I don't know, how much input,
Right.
Teaching staff would have to that. And I would love to be a part of it just to, learn more about it. But I think then maybe within house, we could develop a committee for, either Series 300, which is instruction, or Series 400. Or if there's an area of concern, that the board has. We could start with whatever area you guys
Yeah.
feel most appropriate. And we could kind of go at it two ways. We develop a committee in-house, and we could do our own, and have policies that we're bringing to you guys, and then you guys could start on Series 100. Just an idea.
I'm not going to argue with you taking work off of our laps, Josh. Not at all. And I think that's a good idea, because the Series 100 is just the kind of stuff on the
That's the
formation of the
basic
board.
part.
It'd be nice to have that kind of combed through by the time the election comes around, so then we can have that as a tool that we can hand to the new board member. Now, this is how we do things, which we've got right now. Whether or not it needs some updating, I guess, is what we'll
I think
figure
the
out.
manual has, when certain policies were updated or when they were created, maybe we should look back to see the ones that are in the 90s, we might want to think
Yeah.
about updating.
Yeah, maybe that's our homework for next time, since we're discussing it. Maybe we, come back with our hot buttons next time and leave it as a discussion and give Josh some direction.
What I've seen, when I've read on other school districts, they'll have a review date.
And
So
ours has that.
Yeah, so that we can say, hey, we looked at this in the last,
Like, for
whatever.
example, the graduation policy looks like it was updated on June 28th of 2010. And then there's one prior that I saw was 2000 technical excellence scholarship was 2015. I saw there was a 2006, so it's diplomas for veterans was 2001. So,
Okay.
Should we explore what Neola would charge to go through this, or no?
I think we should look at, see if it's an option, if it's something, because.
I do know WASB, just because I was scrambling for stuff. I called them and asked them. They said they would do. Theirs is $3,000 for a 3-year contract. So I don't know. I did get one from Neola, which is what it looks like Osceola uses, but I don't know what. I'm not sure what they charge. And it looks like they're based out of Florida.
It'd be nice to keep it with the WASB.
That's what I would
We're
prefer.
paying dues and they're from here.
From Wisconsin, right? But if you'd like, I could certainly look into what.
That'd be great.
I think that's how you say it, Neola, what they charge and what that would look
What
like
the service
price-wise.
is.
Yeah,
Well, how's
because I'm
that-
not familiar with
How's
them.
the acronym spelled?
NEOLA,
NEOLA.
and I'm assuming it's an acronym.
Yeah.
Then we can weigh whether or not $3,000 is worth saving
Sure.
our people from having to do it ourselves.
I think the
Okay.
more people we involve, teachers, staff, school, everyone, more involvement, the better, so.
Well, and it gets everybody some ownership in that too. I mean, if everybody helped write our own policies, I think, then I think it's a little bit more. So,
Do we want to bite off a portion of it over the next period of time, that 100 series, or should we?
Why don't we
would you
just
guys
all
like
look
to
it
weigh
I
over?
think we should review it before next meeting for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, I don't know if Peter, but we tabled, that's 100, yeah, we're gonna look at 528 next time.
Right.
Yeah, 100's pretty straightforward, it's mostly
It's
state
not that long
statutes,
either.
right?
Right.
And that's, they reference state statutes on the bottom, it pretty much says what everybody's
And
doing.
I'm guessing it's almost pulled verbatim from
It is.
Yeah.
So we can review it, and then we can make a note on the bottom that we've all read it and reviewed it.
And then we can stamp it, and that one's done.
Mhm.
Okay, if that's what you guys' pleasure is, let's do that then. All right, any more discussion on the board policy? Okay. Then we'll move on to new business H, consideration of district bookkeeper to record board minutes. We had talked a little bit about that, and we had that meeting last week. And that's why that's on the agenda, is to see if we wanted to have the district bookkeeper do our board minutes. So, what's you guys' opinion?
All depends on how it's structured, I guess.
Is there a problem with the way they're written right now?
I would say, yeah, we've had problems with trying to get the minutes written correctly.
Well, I've been writing them, and I think they're pretty accurate. That's why we have a board to discuss them, look them over, and make sure they're accurate. That's why we vote on it. So,
And the other thing too, that would free you up, Dave, to be more involved in the meeting rather than have to
yeah.
work on minutes, but.
What is the responsibility of the clerk to see to it that the minutes are correctly recorded? So I take it pretty serious. So before, when we started, Mr. Hare did the minutes, and he's done them for years. Then he, at the June 22nd meeting, he didn't want to do it anymore, so I took it over. I went through previous minutes that he had written. I think Randy Dean has a copy of this. I'll hand these out. These are minutes that Brad had written, and these are all things that I've been criticized for during the writing of the minutes. These are all written by Mr. Ayer. I think Brent has a copy of this too. I gave you that last time. Yep.
Yeah.
So when I took over the minutes, I went back through years of minutes that are on the website, and I took Mr. Ayer's lead, and I did the minutes exactly the way he did them, or tried to. Apparently his were okay to approve. In fact, they were never really approved. They were just declared approved. They never went through them. We never voted on them until I got on the board. I believe that's proper protocol, to vote on the board minutes. They were never voted on. They were just approved. This goes back years.
It was a consensus approval, but yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking about proper protocol and doing things the right way.
Well, you can do it that way as well.
Not according to state statutes, I don't think so.
Yeah, you can, but regardless.
Okay, well, Mr. Ayer's minutes are filled with quotes. They're
Well-
filled with discussion. In fact, Mr. Ayer started quoting Mr. Lewandowski during the meetings and quoting everyone else during the meetings. So I just followed the rich tradition that we've established here.
What,
So and then I was told, well, you can't do that. Well, is there a double standard? So I'm just saying, I followed the way they were written before, and I was told they weren't written properly. If we want to have someone else write them, that's fine. But I think I should have a chance to look them over, and we should all get a chance to look them over before we bring it to the table here and discuss it.
is this kind of a, Greg, if I may ask, so Dave can focus on the meeting, and Lori kind of writes down what happened at the meeting, then she sends them directly to Dave, so that Dave doesn't have to go home and, scramble to get the meetings put together, but
Well, and it was, if I remember, somebody suggested at the last meeting, let's see if Lori wants to do it or something.
I think
So
that was
don't
during our
remember.
retreat,
Yeah.
which was in closed session.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was a suggestion from somewhere, so.
Well, my question, in order to follow state statute and all that, it's Dave's baby. And we
It's the
can't really-
clerk, whoever the
As
clerk is.
Well, whoever the clerk is.
Right.
So if Lori wants to do them and turn them into Dave, and then Dave send them to us for perusal prior to, it ultimately is Dave's responsibility, or the clerk's responsibility.
It is, you're right, Tom, but you're also not right. If Dave's not doing them the way that we want him to do them, then it's not his baby anymore. He gave that up. We had voted, and I don't remember when this was, we had talked about just putting in, and we had voted on this, that you were directed to put in just the actions.
And I did. If you look at the minutes from when we started to the time to right now, it's pretty much what you guys want.
Okay, there's no quotes.
But I'm just saying, why was it okay back then, before I was on the board, and now it's not? Now it's,
I can't answer that, Dave.
Well,
I'm just
look
trying to.
through here and you
All
just-
I'm trying to
you
do
just
is run this
explain that
meeting
to me.
and not have the minutes be a hang-up.
well, prior to that, you guys just declared them approved without any discussion.
No, there was discussion in each meeting.
It's not reflected in the minutes.
Well, anyway, so that's what we're looking at today, is to consider having the district bookkeeper do our minutes, and this would be thus going forward then. So is there any other new discussion that we want to bring to the table?
Well, you're looking for a motion to, but how's it gonna be handled, Greg? She's gonna present them to the board, and we're gonna circumvent the clerk?
Well, I'm not, I don't know. I guess I hadn't thought of that.
Well, the statutes are pretty clear. It's the clerk's responsibility for the minutes. And he's decent, he's putting them off to us prior to the meeting, so we have a chance to look at them and make, and actually, we should, you know, if there's any corrections or anything like that, to streamline our meeting, we should email it back and say, yeah, this is an item of concern, like the wording thing. That's pretty easy. That would have streamlined our minutes pretty handily, really. So, I mean, that was the only item of contention on the last couple, was just a couple wording things. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah, but
minor.
there were some significant wording things too that we didn't even need to discuss. And that's why we're having this discussion today. So that being said, if we did have Lori do the minutes, what would the trail be then? Would you like her to give them to Dave and have Dave send them out to us, or?
By statute, it's his
Well,
wheelhouse.
but you keep bringing up statute. His responsibility is just to make sure that.
That they're getting done and they're getting
it's done.
recorded.
So it doesn't, and his responsibility is to, you know, if you want to do it all by yourself, you certainly can, or as a board, we can direct our staff to do it.
And it can be a collaborative effort too, also.
Absolutely.
Yep, and it should be.
So, yeah.
And it'd be nice if we could get the minutes, and I know this is early on, but the board packets come out Friday afternoon at 3:30, really? That gives us 2 days to look things over before the meeting. Same with the minutes, we're always sent out with the board packets. You hardly have any time, half the time, a lot of people don't even look at that stuff until the meeting. So it'd be nice if we could get this done maybe a week before,
Well,
so
didn't-
everyone has the time to look at the minutes.
Didn't we ask that as we go forward and as we're getting going, that they're done on Wednesdays, Wednesday night?
Yep.
Yep.
Right? That was our new deadline.
And if the minutes can be written before that, send them out
Just
right
have
away.
them out, yeah, as part of the packet.
The longer we have to look things over, the better. And then there won't be any of this. So I'm okay with Lori doing it, but I want you to send them to me and send them to the rest of us so we can all
Well,
approve them.
and I mean, if it just to lay it, when she sends them, she send them to all of us. Communication should go to all of it, just to
That's fine.
stay, keep that.
But if there's any problems with them, we're still gonna have this conversation
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
during the meetings
Yeah,
Yep.
to make sure they're right.
yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we let Lori do the minutes then.
Is there a second?
With her sending them to me and sending them to the rest of the board for approval before the meeting.
Yep.
That's part of the
Same
motion.
deadline as the packet. By Wednesday night. Right now, until we change it. We need more time
Doesn't matter to me.
as we go forward.
Yeah. Well, we can try that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But we tried.
Okay.
And no offense to Lori, but why would her minutes be any different than what we're writing here?
I was just approached, I'm not volunteering.
Well,
Yeah,
This is not a volunteer job.
yeah.
well, would you be willing to do it?
I will do it, but I want to know what my expectations are, and I will not come here without getting paid.
Well, of course not.
And I believe, I mean, hopefully I'm not misspeaking, but I believe the original, I think maybe suggestion from Mr. Brown to have Lori do it was to maybe take some of the stress off some of the, board, so that there wasn't as much.
Well, and it's not uncommon to have someone else.
Yeah, I know, coming
Yeah.
from the Wausau district, that's what is done over there, and to be honest, it's all recorded
Yeah.
anyway.
No.
The, used to be Lathrop Clark. No, they're Boardman Clark. They said, Lori, in their written opinion of how minutes should be done. It said, school board meeting minutes must, at a minimum, reflect the substance of every official action in both open and closed session. For purposes of school board meeting minutes, Wisconsin statutes defined substance as an intelligible abstract or synopsis of the essential elements of the official action taken by the local governing body, including the subject matter of a motion, the persons making and seconding the motion, and the roll call vote on the motion. So it should be more than a sentence, so that anybody here that's a voting member of our community can intelligently decipher what we did.
And one thing I'll do is I'll reach out to WASB for best practice, maybe some guidelines. I'm assuming they have something out there for us that we can go off of.
Another thing we should discuss is during closed session.
Yeah, what happens then?
Yep. So,
I assume
mean,
Lori would be
that-
in there taking notes.
Well, otherwise the clerk could do it at that point. I think that would be more appropriate.
Probably.
I don't think it would make any difference if Lori's hired to do her job. She's under the same confidentiality that we would be under if she was in that position, wouldn't she?
It's not elected to the board.
Right.
And I can ask for best practice
Yeah,
on that as
clarify
well
that.
if you'd like.
Yeah, let's get that clarified.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because the closed session really aren't to the public anyway. You follow? So
Yeah, yeah.
we're supposed to keep
Minutes
track
are-
of what went on, but they're not really supposed to be available to the public.
Okay. Well, motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
I will second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to have Lori do our minutes from now on. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Lori. And then the next item of business is the discussion of the allocated finances prior to board approval. Tom, you can start this one up.
Well, and I'm going to ask Peter's help on this one because he deals with this in what he does. But yeah, I think it's paramount that we help this, our new administrator be very successful in what we're doing here. So just handing him a check for $6.1 million and saying, do the best you can, I think is probably a little bit foolish. So I think we all ought to be a little bit more engaged in where everything is going. And as an administrator, Peter, did you have some kind of format or?
Well, in conversation regarding this, you kind of caught me off guard, Tom, I'm sorry.
We're having a discussion.
Yeah, I know. So, one thing I think that would be really helpful is for some, what you shared with us prior to this meeting with monthly budget allocations and spending, and so that we're having the opportunity each meeting that we're clarifying where spending is going. You have a budget that's set up, and if there's things that come up where it's like, where does this where are these dollars going in here? We as the board kind of know what that procedure is and where that spending is coming from each month, and so just really, I guess, to sort of help you along on this process and make sure that I don't know, you're not overspending something or not understanding what's going on. I don't know. Tom asked me sort of how things work at my school, and apples to apple or apples to oranges sometimes with different things. But one of the things that we do often is, or I do every month, is a monthly statement of finances, where things are, just so that the board knows exactly where that spending is. If there's something that's kind of maybe is out of whack that month in the sense that some of those are paid quarterly, but they're distributed monthly. And then look like, all right, why did this big chunk come out this month? And then to just for that explanation of this is distributed across, quarterly rather than monthly.
It's gonna help all of us. It's gonna help you because I'm certain you're, because that one of the things that you stated when we were talking was budgeting. And you were really good at a lot of the things. So what we don't wanna see happen is you just get this dumped on you in one shot. So I'd spitballing, thinking about it, okay, either we put a cap on the spending, that you can spend up to X without talking to us. See what I'm saying? The argument is, well, it's budgeted. Well, everything's budgeted. We can budget in a bus, but we should talk about it. And some things are, you follow what I'm saying?
Are you talking like major purchases or like a bus? I mean, that's how many thousands?
Well, I mean, but a bunch of computers, we spent $30,000 in computers, that would be a big one in my world.
Right.
$20,000 in iPads, I mean, that would be big. So why do we not approve $20,000 worth of iPads, but we approve a $23,000 car purchase? To follow along with, do things get so big before the board approves them? That's the point of discussion. Because truly, everything is budgeted. I mean, realistically, there's not a dollar spent.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that was gonna be my question back to you, is because we give direction in the budget, and I get we don't want to give him too much rope to hang himself, right? Sorry about talking about you while you're here, but we also have a very good staff that's there to help,
Right.
and if it's going to be a tap dance as far as what do you report, Josh? What do you bring to us? And I guess Josh, maybe at least my thing. If you think about it for more than 15 seconds, do I bring it to the board? Bring it to the board. If it's something and we'll figure it out as we go. But
You understand what I'm?
But again, we also hire good people who know what they're doing, and we can really get in their way and make it
That's not the
really
point.
painful. I don't want to go over here with why'd you spend $500 on pencils?
Nope. That's why we were talking thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do toner ink. We're not concerned about that. But purchases, we're talking $20,000, $30,000 or $10,000. Where's the board comfortable where beyond that we should talk about? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Because there should be some accountability. We talked about those iPads, but I think at least 2 meetings, and we still don't know where they are, what they're doing. If there's any accountability, are they numbered? Are parents signing off on them? I mean,
They stay in school.
Okay, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we really didn't know.
I believe Josh puts a asset number on everything.
Every
So,
piece of
yeah, every piece of
technology in school has an asset tag on it, just like a library book.
Yeah.
What I was thinking you were talking a little bit more about, Tom, was in the case of when we bought the new van, that was something that was needed. It was brought to the board. We kind of got some bids on things. We approved and okayed that, and it was sort of a mid-year kind of thing. The rest of, so much other is about the planning out of what's going to be needed, and we, Josh and Lori will build that budget around what those needs are, and we approve that budget. I just, was thinking more about, what are those kind of things that you just need to let us know. If it's a health and safety thing, you got to deal with it immediately, and you deal, afterwards. But some of those other things along the way, if something comes up that's outside of there, and maybe it means shifting some dollars from one place to another to cover that, those are the kind of things I was thinking about that, bring it to the board.
Well, I think it's hugely important that Josh be successful here, because we're all stakeholders in this one. So like you say, we don't want to. We want to be as supportive as we possibly can, and and know what's going on. You know, are we on budget? Because it's important that we stay on budget, that we don't have any surprises coming up end of year. And there's some opportunities, you know, spending opportunities mid-year, you know, with sales and such like that, that we can capitalize on as well. So I would agree with what Peter's saying. I like the report, so.
That was gonna be my question. Did you guys all get a chance to look at the report that Josh sent out?
Yeah.
Do you guys feel that that's gonna be a good report
Oh,
going forward?
absolutely.
That'll give us a snapshot on how we're doing compared to our budget?
I was thankful for it.
Yeah, I liked it too.
So
Continue, okay.
keep on keeping on, and
With the report?
Yeah.
Yep. And, yeah, and if, like, I agree with Brent, if you spend 15 seconds going, ooh, bring it in, let's talk about it, if there's a need. But it's big ticket stuff, it's not toner ink or paper.
yeah, the day-to-day stuff, and Lori and you, between Lori and you, and your normal meetings, and Joy, and, you know, is this normal, what do we do? You know,
Capital expenditures,
Yeah.
basically, that's what I'm more concerned about, is just CapEx, capital expenditures.
and that's what we're used to, so, any, you know, and I'm sure Josh knows, and if he doesn't, we'll learn very quickly, if you move money from fund to fund, that is something we have to vote on. So,
Right.
you know,
Yep.
things like that, so that's, you know, that's something that we will do as a normal course of action. Okay?
Do you get what we're
I
saying?
do, yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, I want myself to be successful more than anybody, so I really do, I mean,
So, okay,
Okay.
Good enough?
that's
Okay.
good, yeah.
All right, then we'll move on to item J, discussion of board policy 425, 426.
okay, this was,
All right.
this was a curveball for me in the first week. So this one is, there's even a little bit more than what I had initially sent you through an email. So we're talking about policy 425 and 426. Special ed director was on vacation until today, so that was interesting, considering it's a policy regarding legislative changes with special education open enrollment. It's instead of when a student with an IEP open enrolls to the district, typically you ask, kind of request how much, almost asking how much that student will cost to come into the district. That is changing, and it's just will be a certain dollar amount. I think it's $12,000, regardless of how much services is provided. So, long story short, that this policy needs to change for policy 425. So what I shared with you, the stuff that had lines through it, it looks like Mr. Ayer and Dawn went through that part to delete those items. I went through on my paper anything that's red. You guys didn't get this added section, and I apologize. I was able to look at it at 3:30 today, so it was a little late. But with policy 425, I'll just kind of start from the beginning. If you look, 1, 2, 3, third paragraph in, starting with the highlighted lines, sentence with space available will be defined. Regarding caseload numbers, that's taken off the policy, or I'm requesting that that's taken off the policy. Inserted in that section will be space will be determined by adopted guidelines for determining special education caseloads. Had to reach out to a superintendent that I know up north and asked him. It sounds like a lot of districts are kind of just guessing with a lot of these things because it's a brand new law. That one, Brad and Dawn came up with that verbiage. Also paragraph underneath that will be an additional paragraph. And this is pulled from that NELO. Whether an applicant for a pre-kindergarten, 4-year-old kindergarten, early childhood or school-operated daycare program resides in a district which offers the program for which application is made. That will be added below that.
Under caseloads?
Yep, that caseload
Okay.
section will be removed.
Yep.
Then on page 2 of this, the first paragraph,
I've got nothing highlighted.
Yeah. I think all this came in at like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I printed it off the email.
what's that?
I think I got mine from the email, or did you give this to me?
That was the email.
That was the email.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Actually, let me, I'm gonna bounce around, and I apologize, because it was a lot of info thrown at me. On page 2, about midway down the page, right before resident students going out of the district, so the first part of that, requesting that it, regarding discipline, this paragraph be added. The board may request a copy of a non-resident student disciplinary records from the resident school board. The resident school board shall provide to the non-resident board a copy of any expulsion order or findings, a copy of any pending disciplinary proceedings, a written explanation of said proceedings, the length of the expulsion or possible outcomes of pending proceedings, and/or such records as permitted by law. And then following that paragraph will be a paragraph pertaining to truancy or attendance. If the board has made a determination that a resident student attending the district under the open enrollment program is habitually truant from the district during either semester of the current school year, the board may prohibit the student from attending in the succeeding semester or school year.
And that, these are, both are added paragraphs that we have to add?
Yep, and these were pulled from the NELO website that Osceola was going through, or using.
So the reason we're doing this, because the law just changed?
Yep,
concerning this?
so this has to be read and then approved this month. The law is in effect July 1st, which will immediately impact us for the next fall.
So would this be considered the first reading of
Yeah.
this?
This would be.
The second reading will be the next meeting, and then we can approve it.
No, you just.
Next meeting.
We
Read
would-
it and approve it.
Right.
Yep, we would,
Same meeting.
yep, correct.
The second, yeah.
So, for the second meeting, I'll have it typed out in a form where it'll look exactly what we would be requesting for it to be approved
Get it
as.
to us ASAP, and then we can, we'll have it to read before the next meeting.
Yeah, sounds good. I didn't have access to any of the
That's fine.
policies as well. I had no folders, I had no password, so it's been definitely a learning curve for me, but
Yeah, you're good.
and then there's one more. Okay. Conveying or causing to be conveyed any threat or false information concerning an attempt or alleged attempt being made or to be made to destroy school property by means of explosives. That is what Dawn suggested be put in underneath the first paragraph on page 2.
All three of those sentences or paragraphs you read.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and I apologize, I'm bouncing around. They'll be
Yep.
in correct order. Yep.
Josh, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
When you send this, so this is going to qualify as our first reading, because you're
Yeah.
reading it out loud.
Yep.
Send us the stuff and then highlight, what it was, what's going on, what's coming in,
Sure.
so that we can view both of them,
Yep. So what?
different colors.
Yeah, I absolutely can do that. What I struggled with is I found this policy electronically, the 425, 426, but the board definitely updated this policy. I couldn't find, except in a PDF file, access to the Word document and the updated, so we're working on getting that. And then this is a PDF, so Dawn's gonna help me out with getting some of that onto and then I'll highlight exactly.
Perfect. So in the next meeting, we can come in,
It'll look exactly
and
the
we'll do
way.
a second reading and approve it.
Yep, and I'll even have the portions deleted, or highlighted
Yep,
with
highlight
lines
what's
through.
to be deleted, so that in case there's any further discussion, then we can,
Sounds good.
follow what I'm saying?
Yep,
We can
the
find
last-
that at the next.
The last paragraph on page 2, starting with the district may deny a student from attending school, that paragraph will be deleted, or request to be deleted. Page 3, if you look about 3/4 of the way down the page under letter D, the part of the first sentence where it says, and not rejected by the student's resident school district, that needs to be deleted. Most of the portions that are being deleted are just because a direct reflection of the law, so we can't have them in there.
As I say, my understanding is most of this is not really even open for discussion. It's how the law has changed, and we just need to
The
apply
deleted
it.
parts,
Yeah.
correct. So the parts that I'll have highlighted are definitely open for discussion as far as if you guys do not like the verbiage or you want that changed. But the deleted portions are just in contradiction to the new law. 5 pages in, under resident students going out of district, that paragraph, about halfway in, the district shall also reject a student's application to attend a course, that whole sentence will be removed.
This is all.
And then last, on the last page, under students with disabilities, that first paragraph, the second half of the last sentence, and also to estimate the amount of basic and special education costs for the student, that will be removed or deleted, just because you can't do that anymore. And then there'll be 2 more paragraphs added. At the very end, right before, right at the end, right before the number 3, another truancy section. If the school board has made a determination that a non-resident student attending the district under the open enrollment program is habitually truant from the district during either semester of the current school year, the board may prohibit the student from attending in the succeeding semester or school year. And then one more. And then the last paragraph, same place right before number 3 on the last page. If a non-resident student's IEP is developed or changed after starting in the district, and it is then discovered that the district does not have necessary programs available or does not have space in the special education program, the district may notify the student's parent and the student's resident school board. If such notice is provided, the non-resident may be transferred to his or her resident school district. So quite a bit of changes, and I apologize about for the chicken scratch, and but for the next board meeting, and it'll be all laid out and highlighted for you guys.
Are there any changes on 426?
That was part of
Or
that.
that was all included?
Yep, that was all in one.
Okay. Okay, then we'll put that down as our first reading then. Looking forward to the finished product coming up, and
Me too.
we'll go from there then. Now we'll move on then to our closed session portion of the meeting. We thank you guys all for coming in.
Can I read my updates, or do you want me to do that during next time?
Hang on.
No, I guess we've got some, we got words from Joshua here.
So obviously I was introduced to you guys already. I appreciate being part of the family of the Clear Lake School District, and I use the word family because I really do feel like I am part of a family, and you guys have such a neat community here, and it is so closely knit that we're very excited. Most of my family's excitement has just come from me sharing with them through FaceTime, and we have 4 children, 2 school age. One, my oldest child, is in 3rd grade. She was pretty emotional, but as soon as she heard there was a skating rink on your elementary, she was completely sold. So she's very excited. So I just feel very fortunate to be a part of this this family, this school district. The last 6 days here have been a whirlwind, but they've been fantastic. Joy and Lori have really helped transition me and guide me. They've been really great to work with and just really helped me be successful just this first week to get my feet on the ground and figure out which way is up and which way is down. Was able to experience a doubleheader basketball game, which we had two victories, so that was fun. I heard the wrestling team won their division in the Northern Badger, and we came away with a champ. Hopefully my wife and children will be here in the near future. And then that is all I had. I just wanted to say thank you. I really appreciate everybody's warm welcome, and it's been a nice transition for me. Especially, living out of a bag and kind of doing that process. It's been extremely welcoming, so thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you guys for all coming into the meeting tonight. Stay warm.
Yeah.
Just take some of this stuff so it's out of your way. Okay, Josh?
What's that?
I'm gonna just take this stuff so it's out of your way.
Sounds good. Does Lori get this, or do you take this? I'm assuming Lori does.
Lori gets it. Anything that involves work, she gets.
Anything that involves work.
I don't know.
Hey, Greg or Josh, Mr. Ozine was going to be part of the close. Was that true? It has to do with coaching or something? Is he told, I went on the way in. He asked me on the way in. He said, send me a text when we're going to that. Is that?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah, I know he was a
sent him
part-
on, but he hasn't come down, so
Okay.
Otherwise he said, come find me.
Okay.
Well, we have two subjects to talk about during closed session, so we could start on the one and then we could just shift gears.
Okay. All right, yeah, I just.
It's up to you guys, I guess.
Make sure he stops it.
Good stop.
You have to do it after
After we do the, go ahead.
Yeah, after we
So
vote,
don't do it?
after we vote to go into closed session.
Okay. Throw that back.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything I need to sign, so
Okay.
I'm just looking
If
at
it
it.
happens to be, we can get it back.
Yeah, just call me, I don't come in and get it.
Okay.
That was a long agenda. You guys moved along quick.
So, we're going to move into contemplated closed session according to WSS 19.85, considering employment, compensation, or performance data of any public employee over the governmental body over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility in WSS 19.85. 1F, considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems and the investigation of charges against specific persons except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would likely have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations. I'm going to poll
Well, you gotta say what we're gonna discuss.
we're going to discuss wrestling coach contract, item A, and item B, review and discussion of community petition. Poll on the board, Tom.
Yes.
Brent.
Yep.
Peter. David.
Yes.
And myself, yes. We are in closed session. All right.
2,000.
We are in open. I would entertain a motion for our wrestling coaches.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
For
Oh.
Matt Barney and Spencer Harshman to share.
Co-assistant coach?
Yep.
JV, junior varsity.
Yep.
Yeah,
junior
okay.
varsity.
I'll second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we hire Spencer Harshman and Matt Barney as co-junior high wrestling coaches.
Yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, no. Motion passes. And now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will move to adjourn.
Brent?
Do I hear a second?
That's my job.
That's your job.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. We are adjourned.